I'm Debbie Chronister. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and I'm so glad you're here with me today. You will find me at Stamp with Deb, and you will find the instructions for today's project there. And you'll also find me on YouTube and on Facebook, of course. So let's get started. I have a really fun project today. So in my clubs this month, I am doing boxes. I want the girls to learn how to make a box, no matter what size the object is. So if I wanted to make a box for this, I want them to know how to make a box for that. Or if it was a box for a stamp set, they should know how to make a box for that. Or a box for a set of cards. That's what I'm teaching this month, is how to make a box to fit whatever object it is that you have that's reasonable. Now, some of them, of course, when we get to a bigger box, it's impossible to do it with the supplies that we have. But you can put papers together and create a box. So this little box that I created today is just a simple, it will hold 5 cards, and it is a shaker box. So I'm going to tell you a couple things about this. First of all, the beads inside are retired. I'm sorry. I did not have any of the new snowflakes. I don't know why I didn't order any, but they would be really cute in this box. And I have ordered some, but they're not going to be here in time for today, that's for sure. And so, so I used some of the retired little beads in there, which are still fun. They kind of hang up in here, and which is kind of fun because then there's still something there even when the beads aren't there. But the box is just a simple box, and that's it. But I'm going to show you, I made this out of our designer series paper, the white cardboard that comes in the back. See, you can see inside is the label for that. So I'm giving you the cutting directions on my blog that tells you how to cut that and get it in the center so that you can cover it. You don't want it to come up the side here. And I just cut a piece of thick cardstock and put it in there, because remember, every layer you add to a box makes it stronger. So, and I'm going to show you how I did this cute little top. So I have done a good amount of the work ahead of time, just because I don't want you to have to be on here for 6 hours watching me make a box. It wouldn't be 6 hours, but forever. So let's get started. So what I did is I took a piece of 12 by 12, and my first cut, and it doesn't matter which way, it's 12 by 12, so it's square. My first cut was 10 inches. So I cut probably, let's see, it would be this side, because it's the wider side. So I cut it at 10, and then I moved it over and cut it, or turned it around and cut it at 8. So let me just grab a piece, and we'll walk through that. I wasn't going to do this because I'd already cut it. So, okay. So, paper trimmer, my favorite. And so we're going to go and we're going to pull out the arm. And the first cut would be at 10 inches. Just like that. And then my second cut is at 8 inches, right? Yeah. Because my box is 6 by 8. My box is 6 by 4.5. So this one's going to be 8 inches. Yeah. Looking at my instructions there real quick. Okay, then, and so now that puts it in the center on the bottom, which is what I want, because that way I can hide it. If it's over here or over here, it's going to end up in the fold of my box, and then you're going to see it, and it's going to look tacky. But this is a nice, strong cardboard to make it. So I called this cardboard on the instructions, but I also gave the instructions if you just did it out of the extra thick basic white. It wouldn't be quite as strong, but it would be good. So the next cut is I've rotated, I was this way, I rotated, and I'm going to cut at 9 1/4, which is right there. And then my second cut is at 6 1/2. 6 1/2 right there. So it's not perfectly in the center, but it's in an area where it won't get folded in two. So this will all be, not be seen. It's actually kind of better if you start it, if you turn it this way to make your first cut. So your Country Woods is, or whatever it says inside your paper, is going this direction. It just, so you can see it just lays out. No, that's the way I did it, isn't it? Okay. Forget that comment. Okay. So then I am going to trim this out to make the bottom of my box. And my first thing is I like to cut these off, and I like to cut from the score line out. So I will cut the 4 of those off and turn this one around. And if I do that with my scissors, I get a nice spot here that is going to work well. Okay, and then you're going to cut these up, and you're going to cut the wedge into the smaller part, always into the smaller part. I need to cut this clean. You also want to cut it so that it is not, you want to cut, how do I say this? You want to cut to the side of your score line. You don't want to cut right in your score line, because it is kind of a yucky thing, kind of a, it leaves a mark when you go to fold it. Okay, so you want to cut just inside the score line. So I'm going to cut, I don't know if you guys can see this, but here's the score line, and I'm going to cut right on the left side of this score line, so that I have a nice clean edge there. Also, another thing is you don't want to cut this way, because when you get to the end of that, the snip causes it to tear. So you should cut with your scissors so that you cut up, but you don't close them all the way. And especially if you're doing it on, let's get that up there. If you're doing it on our cardstock, it is more so. It kind of tears it right at the top. Okay, so there is my card, the bottom of my box. I am going to fold these inward because I want this on the inside. Let me get my bone folder and just burnish this. We want a nice crisp fold. That one's already been done, and this one needs. Okay, so I am going to use Stampin' Seal Plus. I love this stuff, but I always use my silicone mat underneath for 2 reasons. One, sometimes it doesn't roll, and then my mat's right there and I can make it roll. Number 2 is this stuff is terrible if you get it on your glass mat or on your tabletop. It's hard to get off. It sticks well. I guess that's the issue. So I'm just going to put a little bit on each of my 4 little tabs here and just start folding it in. Now, when I fold it in, I want to make sure it comes to the corner. I don't want to go over the corner, but I want to go perfectly to the corner. It's almost to the point of invisibility. Okay, if you know what I mean by that, you're almost at a point where it doesn't show. So, just going to go right to that corner, and you should be able to like put your finger there and feel that it's just come right to the edge. Because you want it on the edge, especially this one. You want your box to line up perfectly. And that one's going to go inside. We have a little adhesive going over, so I'm just going to fold it over and tuck it in. And there we go, right to the corner. So we have the bottom of our box. Okay, now let's do our top. So the top, I cut in Pool Party. And this one is, so that one ended up being, the total size ended up being 8 by 6.5. This is the top. The top has to be just a tad larger. So the top is going to be, did I not write it down? 8 1/8 by 6 5/8. So I just cut a piece of Pool Party at those measurements. I'm going to go ahead and burnish this because it's a little harder to see it where my score lines are. And then that way I can trim it out. And let's just get this side too. Okay. So, once again, see, I'm going to cut on the inside of this, on that inside edge, and I didn't do the outside edges yet. Okay, let's do those first. Stay in the pattern here. Okay. And side and number 4. Okay. Now we can just trim these up. And remember, your wedge goes into your tab, into the smaller piece, always. Because your big piece is what's going to show. And there's one more. Okay. And we're not going to put this together yet. We're just going to have all these little pieces. Let's get those out of the way. Okay. We're going to decorate this before we put it together. Okay. So I have cut some strips. And remember, the more you put on your box, the stronger it makes it. So I have some strips that I've already adhered. And this is a piece of 7/8 inch paper. So all 4 of them are cut at 7/8 inch, the white, and then the cardstock, and then the designer series paper is cut at 3/4. And the two sides are, the two sides are 5 7/8. And then you need 2 at 7/8 by 4 3/8. Now I've already adhered the smaller ones and one of the larger ones, so we won't have to do that forever. And I'm just going to attach this one. It's just going to leave a little white around the edge. Just like that. Okay, now these are going to get attached to the top sides of my box. So they're going to go, let's see, which way am I folding? I think I'm going to fold it back because that's how I scored it. So these, oops, that one doesn't go there. Woo, good catch. So this one is going to go right here. And we're just going to leave a little bit of that blue showing. And I did them with 1/8 of an inch. You could do them 1/4 of an inch. But to me, it's just a little bit much, especially on a side this small, because my sides are only a 1 inch. Oh yeah, I didn't tell you that, did I? You're going to score on that lid at 1 inch all the way around. So your excess, so if you cut 2 of them at 6 1/8, they would not, 6 by 8. If you cut 2 of them that were the same size, they would not fit. So I had to add 1/8 of an inch in order for the box to fit, the lid to fit the box bottom. So you always want to add at least that. And if you add more layers to the bottom to make it stronger, then you need to keep that in mind when you're cutting and add a little bit more space to, let me come down this way a little bit more space to that, to the box lid. So you would need to cut the box lid just a little bit bigger because each layer takes up a little more room. Now, because we're putting our layers on the top, it's not going to affect it. But if you were adding a layer to the bottom, okay, come on. For some reason, I think I cut these a little bit shorter. I had a problem with cutting these. This one is way too close here on the edge, but it is what it is now. Okay. All right. So we're going to decorate the center, the top center, and make our shaker part. So what I've done is I took a piece of basic white that is 5 7/8 by 4 3/8, which is this. And I laid this on top of it. And I used, oh, you guys probably want to know what I used. I used Peaceful Season for the greeting. And I used, where's my little Christmas friends? Here we go. Christmas Friends. I love this little set. I fell in love with it right away. I thought the animals were so cute. And then when I found out it had dies, it was a definite purchase for me. Because it has dies that cut out all the animals. And it has a couple of extra pieces in here. It has presents and it has a bow. It's got stars, just some really cute things. So, yeah, I just fell in love with it right away. And so, I thought, you know what? I have to have that one. So that's what I'm using today. So, okay, so let's, get started with this. So I have a window sheet, which unfortunately, no, it's the right size. Okay, I was going to say, unfortunately, it's not quite the right size. So I'm going to attach my window sheet to the back of my designer series paper. And I just want to get it on here a little bit so it stays. Oops. And I want to make sure it's on the paper, just like that. Okay, so I took this circle. This circle was in that stamp set, okay? And that's what I cut out. I think I have squirrels running on my ceiling. I can hear them. Okay, so now my window sheet is inside there. And then I'm going to attach this to here. I'm just stopping to think. Why am I doing it? Okay, and for this I'm going to use my liquid glue. It just seems to work a little better for me. They are. They're running all over on my roof. They're noisy. Okay, so we'll lay that down. Let's get this up here. And there we are. And I just want those two to line up perfectly in the center there. Okay. All right. Now for the shaker part. So I'm going to turn this over. And I'm going to attach, I'm going to use the foam adhesive sheets. I love these. They're fairly flexible. And I start at the top. So I know this is going to be the bottom because that's where my Christmas is going to go. And I'm going to start at the top. I always start at the top because if I end up with a little gap in there, it's less likely for the beads to spill out of the top when you're shaking it than it is out of the bottom. So, and I want to just put this right along the edge of my circle and press it down good. I don't want it to show in the opening, but I do want it to be really close because if I don't, then my beads are lost down in there and you can't see them. A little piece attached there. So, especially along the bottom edge, I want to make sure it's real close. Okay, now here's where I'm going to have to join this, and I have a feeling this piece is just about the right size. And so I'm going to butt this up against that really, really good. Press down and then start shaping it. And bring it around to here. Now I've got to trim this off and I want to make sure that I allow enough for this because I want those two to butt up really good and tight against each other. Okay, there we are. So that is what makes our shaker card. Now, for the one that I did earlier, I took a blending brush and Pool Party, and I colored the inside here on the background. For this one, I have used, let me see, where did I put it? I used, here it is, an embossing folder. It's called Snowflake Sky, and I embossed that. There is a stamp set that I've ordered that is also snowflakes, and so I'm looking forward to seeing that and what we can do with that. So I'm just going, this is going to go here, which is nice because it's not, I can turn it either way. Yeah. Okay, so now I'm going to put my little beads in there. And like I said, if I had snowflakes, I would add those instead. And just, I don't know. I like the beads. I put a bunch in there. I'm going to pull off my adhesive. I should have done this before I put my beads in there, but there we go. Okay, looks good. I'm going to attach my background. This is going to hold my beads in place. So, and it also gives me something to glue to attach it to the top of my box. Now I am going to put a couple more pieces of this on. Oh, didn't want to come out. Let me just grab one of these. And even the edges here are usable, guys. These little pieces here and this little piece on the edge, you can use it. If you need to cut it apart, like I do for classes, I just take a razor blade and just put it on my glass table, my glass mat, and just run the razor down it, and it works really, really good. Okay, so I don't need very much, but I am going to put some here because I want to support this. And dimensionals are too small. This is taller than the dimensionals, and I'm going to put a strip across here. I don't want them to show necessarily, I just want them to support it. And I'm going to put one across the top as well. So I will need one more to keep this little guy. And that should be about big enough. Just enough to support the top of that so it's not just hanging in the air. It's too big. Oh, perfect size. Okay. So now I am ready, because I will glue this as well, because this is also up. Yeah. And there's our shaker part. Make sure it's closed. Okay, now we're ready to attach this to the top of our box. So I'm going to use green glue to do that. And put some here. And then I'm going to peel these off to make sure they're pressed down good. I just want the tearaway tape, not the foam strips. And you will find all these supplies and their the measurements on my blog. So if you're wondering, this is going to go right there. Okay, how cute is that? All right, so then the next step would be to stamp our little character. And here's our little moose. And I have already stamped him and colored him just to save on time today. So he is colored in, his nose is in Crumb Cake Dark, his body's in Crumb Cake Light. His little scarf here is in Pool Party Dark, and I think that's Pool Party Light. I don't know what happened to Pool Party Dark, but that's dark. Oh, it's right here in my hand. Goodness gracious. And then his little skates are in Real Red Dark, and I did the little blades on his skates in Smoky Slate. I think light. I don't think those are dark. Okay, so we're going to attach our little moose here with dimensionals. So let's get some of those. I'm running out of dimensionals. Okay, so I can put a big one on his nose and down here and right down here and here. And then I need to use the small ones on his ears. They're just a little bit too small. His ears are. His horns. I guess his antlers, his horns, his whatever those things are. And I'm going to put one down here on this foot. Just because he's going to be going between plastic and paper. So let's just give him some extra support. Oops. And we'll put him like right there. Okay. Then I have this Christmas that I have cut out. Uh-oh, where's my other part of Christmas? Tell me I didn't cut it out. Uh-oh. Okay, I have to go cut that out because we need the other part of it. Otherwise, it's a nightmare to glue to the this one too. It's so funny that I must not have cut it. So let me go cut that. I'll be right back. Let me grab the die. That's sitting over here. I left it over at my cut machine. Oh, I did. There it is. Aha. Okay, so I have the other part of Christmas. So this is the shadow. This is the word. And this, I'm going to show you. Take your pick tool, you know that little dental thing tool that's on there? That's what I always say it is. It's really great at peeling this apart, just like that, to get it started. I put some, what are they called? The adhesive sheets. So I attached one of those to the back of my paper, and then I die cut this word. It does make it a little bit stronger, I think, but it's supposed to be a little bit easier to put on that way. This has a tendency to stretch, especially. So what I usually do is start the CH down here and then go to my other end and put my S on. And it is a little tricky. And then I just kind of work the two together, because it is a little bit challenging to get this on here, just because it does stretch. And there we go. All right, I am going to use one of our cherry cobbler and clear berries embellishments for my eye. It's going to go right there. It's kind of in a weird place, I think. The I is almost over the S. But that's the way it is. Okay. And then this I can put on with dimensionals. And I am going to use the smaller ones. I think they're a little bit easier on this. I did trim. I'm going to trim off a little piece down here for the C, just because it's so narrow. And I want it to not just hang out there, not being attached. Okay, I've got two of them there. I only need one at a time. And we're just going to put them on here because we want this to stay up. Okay. Peel those off. Oops, sorry about that. That was my watch hitting the table. Okay, I'm going to attach my Christmas right across here. And keep in mind, this C kind of drops off. So if you think you're putting it on crooked, you're not. It just drops down. Let's see if I can get it on there right. I'm going to put this over in front of me so I can see what I'm doing here. Get it on straight, or at least somewhat straight. Because like I said, see, the C just kind of drops off. It's not like if you turn this down that the C would come up, but because then that would be down. Okay, and then for the top, I cut out the banner that was in that stamp set, the Peaceful Season. It has a banner in there. Let's find it. I cut this one, and I cut two of them. I could have cut the smaller one, but I think the bigger one's better. I cut two of them, and I am going to overlap them. On the other one, I did not do that, but I think that will look cute. So I'm just going to put some adhesive on this one. You know what? I'm going to use green glue here. It's such a small spot. Oops, let's see. The bottom area is what's going to get adhered. So, on the white. So that is going to get attached. Let's move you out of the way. Yep. So we don't get glue all over. Oops, that's going to get attached. No, it's not. It's the top that gets attached. Okay, well, we got enough. Yep, I'm good enough. All right. And then I'm going to put that on with dimensionals as well. So we'll flip that over. And just put a couple of dimensionals on there. And stuck to my hand. Okay. It's easier to decorate your box when it's flat, so that's why I've left my box flat the whole time. And that's going to go right there. All right, now we can close up our box top. And once again, I'm just going to use the Stampin' Seal Plus. Whoops, maybe. Okay, come on, start rolling. It's out. Of course it is. Okay, so we're using green glue. Either one works. The green glue will work just as well. Okay, let's get that off the edge. In some ways, the green glue is nicer because I can get right up to the edge of it. Okay, so once again, you're going to close these up and make them match right at the corner. But I'm going to show you a trick. Okay, let's hold that for just a minute. And then I'm going to do this one. Hold that for a second. Okay, where's our box bottom? What did I do with the bottom of our box? It's over here. Okay, so usually this all works out just fine, but I always like to double check it. So when I close this end up, I want to put it on my box because that'll tell me if I need to adjust a little bit and give it a little bit of not quite to the corner. And it looks like this is perfect here and perfect over here. So we can go right to the corners and press those down. And there is our box. Was that adorable? I think it's so cute. I love it. I just want to play with it. So thanks for joining me today. Like I said, you'll find all the instructions on my blog. Give me about an hour to get this on there. And I've started already, but I need to attach the video and finish any instructions that I need to put in there. I'm not going to give instructions on how to put it together on there. Please watch the video. That's what I will say, is watch the video for instructions on how to assemble.